You're right. Between the spending and the foreign policy issues, President Biden's top generals in the hot seat again yesterday, testifying to lawmakers in the House. General Mark Milley admits that the U.S. lost the war in Afghanistan, says it was a failure. The Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin shifting blame for the chaos surrounding civilian evacuations. Watch what he said.
The call on how to do that and when to do it is really a State Department call. And we certainly would have liked to seen it go faster or sooner, but again, they had a number of things to think through as well.
Joining me right now is Tennessee Congressman Mark Green. He is also a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. What is your assessment of that hearing yesterday?
I think the most important and damaging thing for the Biden administration is that they were very clear they wanted to keep 2,500 troops throughout the entire deployment, or the redeployment, I guess I should say. And Biden pulled the number 650 out of thin air and said, no, go to 650 by a certain date. That made a lot of the things the generals wanted to do in terms of securing safety as they exfilled everyone impossible. So they had to adjust their military planning, and that military planning was the strategic failure of the withdrawal, or the big problem with the withdrawal.
Well, there was another unit that Secretary Pompeo had created for these kinds of things, right, to help in times of uncertainty across the world and help get people out. But the Biden administration disbanded that unit. I know about this from talking with the former Secretary of State. What's your take on that? And why are these decisions the State Department versus the military?
So whenever you're getting those visa applications, that mechanism is all housed in our State Department. So making the decisions on who qualifies for, the visas, the various types, whether it's a P2 or just an SIV visa, those decisions, it's all contained in the State Department. So they have to be the one that determines how many people are going to flow out, when they need to do that, and the rate of flow.
So, I mean, the question becomes, should Anthony Blinken resign? We keep hearing, I'll take responsibility, but you haven't seen anyone actually take responsibility.
Yeah, I think the major failure here is Anthony Blinken and the president. President's bad decision-making on how to do this withdrawal, and then Anthony Blinken's delay to get started. I talked to a lot of guys in the Pentagon. I have friends over there. I'm in, 24 years in the military, and they tell me that they were pushing the State Department to get started in early summer, and the State Department dragged their feet. They had 93, and this was another lie from President Biden. Remember, he said that none of the people wanted to come, and there were 93,000 applications. So it was the State Department, the major failure here.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep up with all of these mistruths coming out of this administration, lies, truly. And then there's the General Mark Milley's call to his counterpart in China. Now, one of the co-hosts on The View, Sunny Hostin, was at first critical of General Milley's calls to China, but now she's changing her tune. I want to get your take on this. Watch this, Congressman.
I was pretty harsh in my judgment of him, because I even thought it was treasonous. That he sort of, my understanding was that he back-channeled with China. Yeah. He spoke directly to China without approval.
But that wasn't so.
But that wasn't so. I owe him an apology, because he didn't act rogue.
Congressman, what's the story? Did he act rogue?
I think we need to get the transcripts, Maria, and read the transcripts. He made some comments yesterday that clarified a few of the things that are in the press, and he definitely disagreed with some of the things that were asserted by Woodward in the book. And you can't just, I mean, anybody can write anything in a book and get it published. So we need to read the transcript. The classified portion of the Armed Services Committee is going to do that, and then they'll make a decision on how to handle it.
Well, there certainly is a lot here, not just the botched Afghanistan exit, 13 of our soldiers, our heroes, dead, but also the China calls, and then talking to all those reporters. I mean, gosh, this is the highest military man, and he's here helping with these books. Let me quickly get your take on President Biden's economic agenda, seemingly hanging on by a thread. Nancy Pelosi so far sticking to her plan to bring the bill for infrastructure up for vote today. She's not not completely ruling out a delay because of that standoff between moderates and progressives on the $3.5 trillion spending plan. Congressman, where are we on this? Do you think anything gets done?
So what's coming out of the Speaker's office right now is that we are voting today on this package, but the word is she still doesn't have the vote. So I think she's going to continue to, twist arms all day long today, and then we're going to vote. I think we vote on it today, unless she knows for sure that it's not going to happen, and then there may be a chance we get called back next week. But right now, out of her office, we're voting today.
So you vote today. Does it pass today? So does that mean infrastructure could pass without the $3.5 trillion spending?
Well, she decided to divide the bills. So originally she had put them together, which was killing them, made it impossible to pass.
Yeah.
So she decided to split them back apart, and the infrastructure bill is now traveling in the House by itself. So it could pass by itself without the $3.5 trillion.
All right, we'll leave it there. Congressman, we'll be watching. We know that there's pushback from AOC on the infrastructure bill. Thank you so much, sir.